In 2019 and in 2020, when a network is saying someone is cognitively declining and every segment is featuring cognitive decline, and then they happen to be right 5 years later, is that a sign of cognitive decline? And then on the flip side, you wrote an article recently about Gavin Newsom in California, and he said that Donald Trump right now is not the same person that he recognizes from 2020. Can we all say right now that Donald Trump is cognitively declining because he fell asleep in Saudi Arabia in front of the crown prince, because he almost fell down on an airline thing, because he couldn't open a box in front of a White House press briefing room? Could we all say those things? Can you demystify? And I'm very agitated by this because the Kayleigh McInerney's of the world and all these folks that go on Fox News that are sitting here and Lara Trump wanting Jake Tapper to apologize. You were not right back then. You were an ass for doing that because you work for a network that was disseminating those points to counter the Democratic talking point. You don't get to call that you were right 5 years later when at a debate, like you said, he looked like he was off his rocker, for lack of a better term. So can you kind of demystify where's the point right here where you can kind of say, hey, you guys were wrong, you were dead off on that.
There was a decline or slippage in Joe Biden from 2019 to 2019 to 2020, but it was not what the right wing machine was saying it was. I mean, they were saying he was basically a brain in a jar in 2019, 2020, and that was not true. What our reporting shows that there were moments that even gave his own aides pause where, he would just be very, very tired. He would forget the name of his longtime aide Mike Donilon, who he known since 1981. There were moments of like, I mean, for lack of a better, senior moments or moments where aides would be like, huh, but they were few and far between, or at least that the ratio was not really troubling to most of the people around him. And what happened by 2023, 2024 was much different than what was happening in 2019, 2020. Like again, it's like a very classic story of aging. People like the good days and bad days, the ratio changes over time. The bad days become more frequent, and the bad days are also worse, and the good days aren't as good. I mean, that's what was happening here. And also, the thing about the some of the right wing or conservative media, I would say that I find frustrating with the victory lap that they're taking. Which listen, they were right. They were right to be like the mainstream media did not hone in and focus and investigate this enough. But also, it's not reporting to just like air clips of Biden making gaffes all the time. The sort of work that I was doing was getting people in, like real people inside the building to tell me about how the White House was having to adapt to his limitations. The fact that they couldn't get meetings on the schedule, even privately, very often after a certain time of day or early in the morning. And it was frustrating people that his energy was so limited. The fact that people had real concerns that he could make it till January of 2029. I mean, that was sort of while the conservative media was right that there should have been a lot more curiosity. It's not like they were breaking huge investigative stories